All right, third time's the charm. This is the third time I'm recording this video today. So, happy Tuesday if you're watching this on Tuesday, and welcome to Raven's Escape Crafts. I am your host, Sue. I am the head crafter for Raven's Escape Crafts and the only crafter for Raven's Escape Crafts. And I will be your host. So if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you had a great weekend. I did not, as you can see, I'm coming au naturel. I have no crochet on today. I should have just grabbed something and put it on, but I'm trying to put like new stuff on that I made, and I did not get any kind of wearables made this weekend. It was kind of not quite the weekend I planned, but we'll get into that later. So, what did I make this weekend? We'll start with that. I made a few things. I had a lot of, and anybody who is a crocheter or a crafter understands this. I've been working on things, and I ended up with a lot of scrap yarn. And I try to use up what I can. I mean, obviously sometimes you end up with small pieces, and then those sometimes I save for like filling, I can fill something with it, but in general, I try to use up what I can, and I don't love to put like I already have a big stash of like scrap yarn that I really need to get to one of these days and like make a scrappy blanket, because I probably have enough for a scrappy blanket, to be honest with you, or some scrappy projects. But I had some in my bag here, and I really wanted to use them up, try to make some room in my bag. I have such clutter going on right now. I'm sure all of us can relate. And I've got like yarn to be used and things to go through, and of course I have things I need to take pictures of for my Etsy shop that are done, and we'll get to all that later. So what did I make this weekend? I mostly made these. I made some bags. Now you saw the mimic bag on Friday. I think I showed you that one. Well, I also made a purple, like a two-tone purple. Has a fuzzy on it. This is a fuzzy. This is a drawstring bag. Plenty of room in it. It can hold a lot of stuff. And then this is the kind that has like a drawstring, so you can hang it on your belt and then open it up. And that's in the purple. I think that came out pretty. And then I made another purple drawstring bag. But this one, I made it has a little bead. And it has fringes. And then you can open it up. And then close it and then hold it shut with the bead. But then this one actually has the belt loop on it. So this one you'd hang on your belt, and then it could go like this, to get your things out of it. And then I made a companion bag to the mimic so that you'd have a second one. So like this was your mimic bag with the mimic on the inside. Oh my goodness, I can't get it open. Fingers are not working properly this morning. So this is the mimic bag that I still need to take pictures of for Etsy. This one. Yeah. And then I made a companion bag for it. It still kind of looks like looks a little derpy. But this one does not have anything on the inside. This one is just going to be a regular bag. Hold on, if I could get it open. Oops, I did not get it open. Oh, I am not working on 100% this morning, I tell you. It's a little bit crazy. All right, so there, see, this one is just a flip top, and again it has the belt for you to put it on your belt, and it'll hang like this. So that is most of what I got done this weekend. Not a lot. I did not get a ton done. It's okay. It was a holiday weekend. I also made, I have to find the other, I don't know what happened. I don't know how. I already lost one of my fingerless gloves. How? It's like, hasn't moved from my area here, and I lost a fingerless glove. I have to look for it this morning. I thought it was in the bag that I had with my makes, but it's not. But these go with the hood. They're made in that watermelon, and I made fingerless gloves to go with them. I thought these would look super fun. Here it comes again, shocker. With the hood. So, here we go. Put that on, flip it up, put it on right. Oh no, she's got her hood on again. I swear I'm going to watch. So, see, this matches the... And there is a second one I have to find. When I find it, I'll show you guys. I don't know how I lost it. I swear to God. I know it was on this, like, in this, my little make bin here, next to the couch, and now this morning I can't find it. But doesn't that look cute with the hood? So you can have your fingerless gloves and your hood. All right, I'm going to take it off again, so. But yeah, so I made a pair of those, and I will find the other one and show you. Another thing I wanted to show you, so if you do not follow Matt, the Rockin' Crocheter, and his wife, oh my goodness, they do lives every week. I want to say Wednesday nights. I'm almost positive it's Wednesday. If it's not, it's Thursday nights on YouTube. And they talk. He's a really amazing crocheter. He's a newer crocheter. I think I mentioned him. And they do giveaways a lot of times, him and his wife. So I had entered the giveaway on their live this past week. And today I got yesterday I got my prizes. So I wanted to show you now. These are going to be backwards. I apologize. But there's a tote bag. It says, I crochet so I don't choke people. Save a life, send yarn. I absolutely love this. I love this so much. My kids were like, And then it came with a matching little pouch. Which, as a crafter, can we ever have enough little pouches? Still trying to figure out exactly what I want to put in here. Because I have so much stuff. I need to organize my stuff. And then it came with a free gift. It came with this like clear zipper pouch. And I'm thinking of putting some crochet hooks in. I'm thinking like I could put some of my hooks in here because it's like the perfect size for hooks. And I have this other bag that's like overfull of stuff and I need to clear it out a little bit and organize it so I can actually find things in it. And of course my pouch actually is a pouch inside. So I think I really need to organize my stuff. I have some of my tension rings in here. I have all kinds of various crochet hooks in here. And then I have other bags with crochet hooks, and it is just out of control. So I'm going to have to spend some time, one of these days this week, I don't know which day, going through and reorganizing and using some of my cool new bags. I just can't wait. And I really wanted to put a shout out to Matt the Rockin' Crocheter, and I believe, that's not one of the bags, but this one and this. I just love these. I think these are so cute. Absolutely love. My new bags. I'm going to use them. I already have things in the tote bag. I am so going to use those for all kinds of things. I am, like I said, I'm going to take some time this week. I need to get organized. So that's something I want to bring up. So the other day I was watching a live and somebody was talking about journaling. They were they were crocheting and stuff like that, but they were talking about journaling and like doing the planners. Hold on. All right, before I get into planners, oh my goodness, getting off track. What am I working on right now? So my son wanted me to make a sun hat. I was going through my yarn yesterday. I was completely uninspired. And so he said, make a sun hat. So this is, it's a work in progress. It's going to have a bit of a, like a curly, but I think that looks cute as heck. So it's not quite done. I want to make the brim a little wider. So that's what I'm working on right now. So hopefully I'll be able to show it to you done tomorrow. Let me put my hair back. So it's out of the way. So, oh, that looks terrible. My goodness. So that is what I'm working on right now. I'm using this cool yarn. I'll show you. From Hirschner's. This is their worsted neon lights. It is super crazy. And I'm loving it. It has a super short, if anybody's looking for a neon yarn with a super short color change. It is one of the shortest color changes I've ever seen. So it comes out like a little cray-cray. But I like it. I like it for a summer hat. So that is what I'm working on right now. And it's not super heavy. And it has a nice flow, like a nice drape to it. So that is what I'm working on, in case you're wondering. So hopefully we'll get this done today. I should have had it done yesterday, but honestly, I was tired. I was tired yesterday, and like I said, we were trying to get some stuff done, but back to planners. Well, I am squirrel today. Hello, ball, yeah. So back to planners. So I've been thinking a lot about this. So I'm trying to, obviously running, if any of you run your own small business or small, like, Etsy shop and stuff like that, it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't care. Ooh, what the heck's my hair? It's a lot of work, and I don't care what anybody says, it really is. It's a lot of, not just the actual shipping and selling or shipping stuff and packaging orders and stuff like that. Obviously, like, as a crocheter, I have to make everything, and then I have to take pictures of everything, and you have to try to get good lighting and edit them, and then, of course, you have to actually put the products up, and then you have to do research as to what, like, keywords to use, what SEO to use, to get people to actually look at your product. And then, of course, there's the whole, obviously, social media aspect of it. There's the whole, if you want to try to get, like, Etsy's great. I am not going to be one of those people that puts down Etsy. I know a lot of people are very negative with Etsy, but I am not going to be one of those people. I don't think ever, because my journey with Etsy so far has been, I knew what I was getting into. Oh no. Somewhere along the way I screwed this up. Oh no. I have to frog. It's because I'm talking and not paying attention. So that's okay. Rip it. Let's see where I have to pull back to. Hold, please. There we are. So, as far as Etsy's concerned, a lot of people don't like the fees or feel like they get, they spend too much on there. But as someone who has worked in a sales environment and things like that for a long, long time, their fees really, compared to what you have to do to start your own website, that comes with its own fees every month. And then if you have your own website, you have to market it yourself, which obviously most of us supplement our Etsy, but Etsy comes with a known name, and people are looking on there for things. So, and then they advertise, and you can pay advertising. Like, I pay $1 a day, which isn't much. You're not going to get paid advertising any other platform for $1 a day. Not even close. So, as far as that's concerned, I can't complain. And they tell you about their fees up front. There's nothing, people get upset because they don't read the fine print. They don't understand that they're going to pay fees on certain things. And then, of course, Etsy charges fees on shipping, which people get upset about, but they had to, because they used to not charge fees on shipping, but then people would mark their product for $1 and then charge $30 in shipping so that they could avoid the fees. So you can thank those people for screwing up and making us pay fees on shipping. And I get it. I mean, Etsy needs to keep, their head above water, and they use some of their money that we pay in fees for advertising. They put a lot into I see ads for Etsy all over the place. And I just can't complain for the fees that they charge. I know a lot of people think they're expensive, but if you're running your own fresh business with your own fresh website and all that jazz, you're going to spend so much more in fees and things to start up your own website, start up your own platform. And like I said, they come with a plethora of customers to, like pre customers that you're not going to get in your, you're going to have to work really hard to get those same customers on your website. Now, I mean, again, if you are on Etsy and you do really, really well and get get your name out there, get your brand is, becomes something that people know and are going to look for it independently, then yeah, you might not want to spend the money on Etsy fees and stuff like that, because it won't. If you're bringing your own traffic to Etsy all the time, it really isn't beneficial for you to pay all those fees for them to provide that service. But how many of us are, let's just face it, how many of us really are in that position? Yeah, not too many of us. So, and obviously, like I said, running an Etsy shop, you have to get yourself out on social media, because you're competing with over 1 million other sellers. And, you got to get yourself out there. You got to get your products out there in front of people. And that's not easy. Obviously some people get lucky super fast. They get, somebody, either a product they make pops off and gets like a ton of views on social media. And then people start seeing it, and then people start sharing it, and then it becomes super popular. But that is not the reality for most of us. And then your other way is, of course, if you find an influencer or somebody who orders one of your products and really likes it and, of course, shouts it out on their channel, you can get a huge, huge influx from that. But, again, I mean, how many of us is that going to happen to? We pretty much have to promote ourselves. So, that being said, it is a lot of work. My whole point is it is a lot of work running a shop. I don't care what anybody says. You have to constantly be checking on your products, checking on your inventory, checking on your, shipping orders. But shipping orders, again, is such a small part of it. You're taking pictures, and then, of course, you have to write the description, and you have to fill in all the things on Etsy to tell people, try to get your product out there in front of people so when they search that it comes up. And then, of course, if it doesn't, now you got to go back in all the time and try to tweak it and make it a searchable thing, or take better pictures, or why is this not selling at this point? And and of course you need to have a lot of products, or you get seen more on Etsy if you have a lot, over 100 products. So me, I have over 400 products on there. To me, it gets a little overwhelming when I need to like go through and like what's selling, what's not, why is this not selling, what should we fix. I'm so sorry. It's a lot of work. It's really a lot of work. And then of course, you need to post, like, you should be posting on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, and do TikToks, and on top of all this, you know what I mean? And to keep people, try to get people engaged, try to get people to see your products, try to get out to the people who, the most important is the people who want to buy this stuff, It's a lot of this make things that aren't just for anybody, you know what I mean? Like, especially as crafters, like, I rake like my soaps and stuff that I make that are, they're not, you can get soap a lot cheaper at the store. So it has to be somebody who wants the artisan soaps, who wants that kind of thing, who's willing to spend a little extra money, or has it. I mean, not everybody has it. It's just that simple, There's a lot of things like that, and same with my crochet items, it's hard when, like, you can go buy a hat at Walmart, a winter hat at Walmart for $5, and I have to charge 25 or 30 because, between the yarn and the time, it's just not I can't make it for that. I have more of that yarn in one of my hats than $5. So that's the hard part about it, and like, I'm not complaining. I mean, obviously, this is just part of running a small business. I just, wanted to put that out there today, like talk a little bit about, because I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat as I am, and then trying to find, places to sell. I mean, that's the other hard part for me is like, when I first started selling in 2020, I started selling on Facebook Marketplace, but they had a shop section. And you could create a shop, and then people could go into your shop and shop and buy, just your stuff. Well, I did really good on there. I was selling tons of stuff on that, and then they got rid of it. Okay, so now, can I put stuff up on Facebook Marketplace, like regular Facebook Marketplace? Yes, but is that a great place to sell handmade items when people are mostly looking for deals? No, it's just not, where when you had like a shop on there, people were like, knew that it was a shop. Now it's your one little listing comes up in front of, like, with other people selling their used things, it's just not, I haven't done well with it. You know what I mean? A lot of, so I sort of stopped doing the Facebook selling directly from Facebook altogether. Then I had a TikTok shop, which actually did really well. I set up all my products. I got on there. I did all the things that if you sell on TikTok shop, they're different than any of the other seller platforms that I've been on. However, I had a really good, I set up my shop. I had a lot of my products on there. And I was doing really well. I wasn't doing a ton of advertising, and I was selling on a pretty consistent basis, like 1 or 2 things a week, which is really good for me. And then I hadn't even gotten all my products up. And then what I ran into was I started getting notifications that my products didn't meet their standards. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, apparently when they started TikTok shop for, they did it in Europe before they did here. And for soaps, they have all sorts of regulations in Europe where you have to, in Europe, I know the UK especially, I'm not sure, it's not, I don't want to say all of Europe, but in the UK, which is where I'm sorry, they started the TikTok shop in the UK first. And in the UK, you cannot sell soaps or body products without getting them tested by the government. Like, you have to submit paperwork and have testing done. We don't have that in the United States. If you're making soap, or even like a cosmetic, and I know a lot of people don't know this, but you don't have to get any of that tested. There are, if you make actual soap, like soap like with oils and lye and, you know what I mean, like old fashioned, like what they call cold processed soap, where you're just using oils or butters and a lye to saponify it, you actually don't need to even list ingredients on your soap label. You can just call it soap and sell it. Now, if you're making things like I do, like melt and pour, which have other things in them, we do have to label things. There are cosmetic laws as to how we have to label. I have to put all my ingredients on there in the order of the how much, the quantity, just like food. You have to label it like what is the most prevalent, what is the most thing in your product down to the least. And then you have to list all that. And then you also have to make sure you put your business and your address on there so that if something happens that people can, contact you or sue you, I'm assuming. Which is, of course, why I also have insurance for my business, because you don't know, people be crazy. So it's important. If anybody out there has a business, like even crochet stuff, make sure you have insurance, because you don't know. I mean, you don't know. I've seen crazy stuff where, like, somebody's dog got a hold of a crochet piece and ate the yarn, and they were trying to sue the crafter. I mean, come on. But people do it, All right, so the whole point to talk about this was talking about planners and journaling. I was watching this live where this woman went to a basically like journaling planner convention, and she was showing like all the cool new stuff that they have. And so that's what I think I wanted to finish the video off with this week, or today, is talking a little bit about that. So I am a Virgo. Okay. So I love organization. Love, 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 love. Now, I don't always organize as well as I should. To any of us, really. So planners and journals do hold a lot of, like, I like them in concept. I want to be the person who plans the crap out of everything. And has the fancy planner journal that, has everything planned out to, perfection with the little stickers and uses the markers. But then the practical side of me is like, when does planning start becoming more of like instead of a time saver, how much time you're wasting doing planning? So does that make sense? Like, my biggest thing is like, I'm all about planning. Like, I have calendar in the kitchen, which I write all the stuff that everybody needs to know about, like to be at places at certain times. Appointments get written on there when the kids need to go to certain events and stuff for school. We write this on we have a big old-fashioned wall calendar, and I write the important stuff on there. When they have days off of school, just because, life, and I like to have like that visual. I know there's amazing calendars on your phone and on the computer and on the tablet. I like to have that hard copy visual planner, like visual calendar on the wall with things written on it. It's just, to me, that works way better than anything else. So but that's for like, like I said, like appointments, or like Logan has band at 6 o'clock tonight, or, have to remember to pick, somebody up from game club at 5:30. You know what I mean? That's how, but like I love looking at people that do these amazing planners, and they plan everything out, and they're going to do this today and that today, and this is their goal for Wednesday, and this is their goal for Friday, and this is their goal for the month, and I'm like, part of me like loves it so much, and I want to do that. And then part of me is like, how much time am I wasting? Then I could be doing something else, planning the hell out of my life. You know what I mean? Like, and do I want my life planned down to the minute? Like, I like the idea of setting goals for myself, but in the same sense, and just hear me out, does setting impractical goals make you more upset with yourself if you don't achieve them? There's a balance to it, to me at least. That's the hard part with like planning and stuff like that. Now, journaling is a whole different thing. I mean, I'm a terrible journaler. I'm that person who's like, I am going to journal this year. I'm going to journal every day. I'm going to write down my thoughts. It's going to help me out. And I'm like, start fresh in the beginning of the year. January 1st, I'm going to journal my life, and I'm going to work on my mental health, and we're going to, this way I can see where I was at every day, and I can write down some, write out the negatives, and so they're gone. Like, once I write them on the page, then I can wipe them, away, and I can look back and see what happened, and I'll leave this amazing legacy like you find in every movie, all these like movies where like my kids will be like, oh my God, I found Mom's journals, Yeah, I have good intentions, and then I do it a little bit, and then I don't, and then I get pissed off about something and I do it again. So for me, like, if I'm having a hard time with something, we all run into this, where I'm having a rough day, or let's say, I'm trying to think of an example, like, life gets frustrating, for all of us. And even if something happens, sometimes nothing happened, but you're still frustrated with the world, with life, with everything in it. And, so to me, when I'm like that, if I sit down and write it out, it does help me a lot. It sort of helps me get my thoughts together. We all have those days where it's just like, oh my God, I cannot do this. Like, what else, And so on days like that, it really does help me to write things down, to like, hey, today I'm really frustrated with the world. My kid did this, my husband did this, I went to pick up my coffee cup and it broke. You know what I mean? I spilled something on the floor, and until I'm done writing it out, I feel a lot like, okay, there it goes. Like, I wrote it down, send it out into the universe, and let the universe deal with it. So I like doing that, but I'm not an everyday journaler. I commend people who are. I commend people who are that level of committed, and you probably have a lot better mental health than I do. Probably, yes. You probably can sort through your feelings a lot better than a lot of us. But as far as like, and of course, I love the lady on the talking about journaling, the lady on the live I was watching was talking about book journaling. Now that I could get behind. That's kind of an interesting concept that I hadn't thought of. Like she was talking about, like, so every time you start a book, you write it into your journal, and then as you're reading it, you take some notes, like of things you liked or parts that things that meant something to you. And then, of course, like at the end, you give it so many stars and you put, whether you liked, what you liked or didn't like about it and things like that. Sort of like your own little book review journal. And I like that idea because, there's a lot of times where I haven't been reading a lot lately, but like when I was reading like voraciously, when I was reading 200 or more books a year, where I'd like go and like, oh, what was the name of that book? Or, trying to remember, did I like that book or didn't I like that book? Did I like that author or didn't like, or when like I needed new books, it's like, obviously I have my go-to, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm a little tickle, go-to authors, but there would be like, oh, I need a new book. I'm up to date with all my favorites. Like, who did I read that I really liked? And I'm like, I do Goodreads to keep up to date as to what I've read. But, I don't put reviews in there very often unless it's something I really enjoy, because I'm not a big negative review person. Unless something is really, unless I do not like leaving negative reviews. I'll get to that in a whole nother thing. But so I did like the fact that they were talking about journaling like that, because that would be something, a book journal or something like that. And now I've also seen, and let's roll it back to crochet, a lot of people who journal what their makes. Like, so they have a journal and they're like, okay, started this project, this day, it's going to be a 6-point star shawl. I'm using this yarn. I'm using this tutorial or this pattern. And then, like, if they're not using a pattern or if they're changing the pattern, they write notes as to what they did. I wish I was better with that. I really should be. And I really need to do that. Especially with my business, because I tend to just like make stuff. Now, if it's something that I'm creating on my own that I don't have a pattern at all for, I do have a notebook that I write all those patterns down in my little shorthand, not like in the regular pattern, because I don't really read patterns, but like I have my own little shorthand where I'm like, row 1, 6 single crochet, like, so I know what they mean. And I do use them because, there's a lot of things like my fingerless gloves, which it's not a hard pattern, but I didn't use anybody else's pattern. I came up with that on my own. So I have that written down so that I can, and I still change it depending on the yarn and stuff like that. But so I should be better with that. I wish I was a little better with that. And I wish I was a little better. I have a planner and I do write certain things in it, but not anywhere near what I wish I did. I wish I kept better records, better notes on things. I would love to. So my whole point to this is, I watched this planner, this lady talk about planner and all this cool stuff. She got all this cool stuff, all these different pens and markers and watercolors and different kinds of papers and stickers and little tabs to put in, notes and things, and the sheets, the clear sheets you can put over things to write notes on top of something without, it's like a Post-it, but it's sort of see-through, so you can write on top of it and not destroy what's underneath. She got all these cool things, and I'm like wondering, do any of you guys plan? Like, do you guys plan your stuff? Do you use a planner? Do you use a journal? How do you keep track of what you're, I have an okay system. I mean, like all my inventory and things I have spreadsheets for, and I track everything. I track all my sales. I have um, really good records as far as the business side of everything. But I would love to know if anybody has any good ideas on maybe um, the planning side or the recording, like how you make. Is anybody like? I'd love to talk to somebody who is a crafter or whatever and is doing that. So I wonder if any of you do that with the planning or journaling, or how do you guys keep track of all your makes and things like that? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. So I know I've talked for 40 minutes now. I did not finish my hat. I was hoping to finish the hat while I was doing this, but I got chit-chatting and then I had to pull some out, and so now I did not finish the hat. But I still think it's cute. I'm going to finish working on this today. I have quite a bit of work on my Etsy store that I need. I'm a little behind. I had to ship an order today for face scrubbies. If you've never used those are like, they're awesome for, I'll pull some out one of these days. They're really awesome for washing your face, taking off your makeup, whatever like that. So I had an order for those I had to ship today. What else? I think that's about it. So, but I have a lot to do today to work on some of my stuff, my shops, and I want to finish this hat and get some more, figure out what I want to do for, what do you guys want to see tomorrow? Somebody let me know in the comments. Do you guys want to see another, I don't know. Anybody who is watching, let me know if there's anything you want to see, anything you want to see me do, if you want me to explain how I make anything. Let me know. I'm kind of just chit-chatting with you guys every day. I love coming on here and talking to you all every day. I just don't want to bore everybody. I'm hoping to, like I see so many other channels. I kind of want to just make that, like, connection and see if we can do stuff. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. I hope everybody has a great night. I hope you have a great morning tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow and on Wednesday, and we'll see. Hopefully I will be wearing my hat or something else I finished. Hopefully I'll get all my stuff done today. I got a little bit of a late-ish start today, but that's okay, right? We forgive ourselves. We forgive ourselves for things that are out of our control, or when we need to take some time for ourselves. So whatever you do today, do something nice for yourself. Hope if you crochet, make something nice. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Choose love every day. Thank you so much. I appreciate every one of you. And I'll see you tomorrow.